89-year-old Doris Haddock, whose nickname is Granny D, is trying to draw attention to the need for campaign finance reform.
My interest in her was sparked by her walk across America. I mean, it's one of the more remarkable feats in American political history.
In their research, they discovered there were already campaign finance laws on the books. After the Watergate scandal, Congress limited the amount of money an individual could give directly to a politician. Direct contributions were known as hard money. But there was a loophole. Candidates couldn't take more than $1,000 in hard money from an individual, but their political parties could, and the parties could send unlimited amounts of that money to the candidates. This was called soft money.
During the 2008 election, Citizens United, a conservative nonprofit organization, wanted to release a video on demand criticizing presidential candidate Hillary Clinton and advertise their film on TV broadcasts. This was in violation of the Bipartisan Campaign Reform Act of 2002, and the case eventually made its way to the Supreme Court. Their ruling changed the role money and speech play in American campaigns today.
Somehow you're not patriotic, and we should stand up and say, we are Americans and we have a right to debate and disagree with any administration.
And I knew Richard Nixon, and I'll tell you something, she's no Richard Nixon, she's worse.
Ruthless, vindictive,
venal, sneaky,
ideological, intolerant.
liar is a good one.
Prior to Citizens United, individuals could only donate $2,700 to a candidate in primary and general elections, and could give a maximum of $5,000 to any PAC. However, corporations and unions at this time could not spend any money directly on federal elections. The Supreme Court's ruling in this case changed the way that campaigns would be financed moving forward, and significantly, it established a new interpretation of the First Amendment right to free speech.
Because money equals speech. It doesn't matter if the speech comes from money or comes from your mouth.
So you agree with the Supreme Court?
On almost everything. Money equals speech. Therefore, the more money you have, the more you can speak.
After Citizens United, the amount of money that individuals could donate directly to a candidate did not change. They were still limited to $2,700 per candidate and $5,000 per PAC. What did change, however, was that corporations and unions could now spend unlimited amounts of money on federal elections by donating to super PACs and political nonprofits. Senators need to raise $3,300 a day for 6 years to get reelected. Representatives need $1,800 a day, and local officials need $600 a day. This leads to politicians focusing all of their efforts on mega donors, drowning out people like you and I. More than 80% of the money raised by both Trump and Clinton came from mega donors. Democrats have had more money in every election since the Supreme Court case, and ironically, Hillary Clinton has been the largest benefactor. Campaigns aren't the only way that finances influence our politics. The American Legislative Exchange Council, or ALEC, is a special interest group made up of corporations and lobbyists to create laws. ALEC is backed by over a quarter of congressmen and politicians, giving corporations direct access to our Congress floor. ALEC writes laws, and the government supporters enact the laws in exchange from campaign finances and other luxurious benefits. ALEC has been in the news recently because Walmart wrote and delivered the Stand Your Ground law in Florida. The law was intended to increase gun sales in the state of Florida, but instead aided in the proven innocence of George Zimmerman, the man responsible for Trayvon Martin's tragic death.
I'm just curious, does the legislation have some connection to ALEC?
For Representative Atkins, I'm not sure why we're pursuing this course of questioning. This bill is my bill. It's not ALEC's bill.
Well, the reason I ask is because earlier you passed out a handout that says Gottwalt at the top, and it says Healthcare Compact, and there's a logo right in the middle of that page. And I went to the ALEC website, and there's exactly the same font, the same size, and the same logo. I mean, literally, it's verbatim.
A massive response is mobilizing. Such a huge problem requires a huge solution, and we've got one. A new constitutional amendment. The amendment is smart and clear. It reverses this disaster to our democracy by clarifying that the First Amendment isn't meant for for-profit corporations. It's time to do that now, because the life of our democracy is on the line. Remember, 85% of Americans think that corporations have too much influence in our democracy. That's enough to make change if we can turn that sentiment into action.